Thank you for coming to Amazon's The Expanse panel. How does it feel to be at the first SDCC post We Save the Show panel? Fantastic. It's incredibly awesome to be here. And I think just one coincidence that I think we should touch on, the exact 50th anniversary of the Apollo moon landing, talking about a show like The Expanse. It's incredible. And speaking about talking about a show like The Expanse, if you want to interact with the show, especially socially, at Expanse on Prime, hashtag The Expanse. There's also a very cool new Terra activation at MLK, Promenade, and First. My name, hello, is Kyle Hill, and I am obviously very excited to be here. Not only do I love this show as just a fan of it, and I love the science inside of it as a science educator on the internet kind of person, I actually have a very personal connection to this particular panel, and it's something that I just wanted to show you really quick before we get everything new and improved out to all you screaming firehawks out there. So, we got some in the crowd, I appreciate that. So before we bring everyone out, I want to show you the exact moment, like the literal second that The Expanse was saved. So the cast and crew of the show were doing a science panel, I was moderating it, at an International Space Developers Conference, and at that conference, Mr. Jeff Bezos was receiving an award. And I remember actually joking with Steven Strait at dinner. We were sitting right in front of his table. We're like, what if we just went up to Jeff Bezos and was like, can we just save the show? And we got a good laugh out of that. But then this happened. The cast had no idea that was going to happen, and the genuineness of their reactions really speaks to, I think, what we all love about the show is that we're genuinely excited about it and the characters and the story. So let's get right into it. So this panel is kind of a reunion between the cast and the crew and the fans that made a moment like that very possible. And we are here to give you exactly what you asked for, more of The Expanse, and some stuff that you've never seen before, I promise. And maybe even, possibly, when you can see, anyway. But first, the Amazon and The Expanse wanted to show you just how much they care about all of you, because you're integral to this equation. That's a math joke. We wouldn't be here without all of your fuel to keep us flying. So here's a little thank you. This is a fan-made video, edited and made by one of the super fans himself, Ed Axelrod, who is in the audience today. So here's a little thank you from us to y'all, Parker. They really are. I was looking before you got out here, and everyone's pretty hot in this room.
That was so hot.
Yeah. So first, let's introduce everyone. Of course, he is the nerdiest showrunner in Hollywood. I guarantee it. Narain Shankar, everyone. Next, he is your captain, and I hear he has a goatee in the next season. Steven Strait. Speaking of hot, she gets everyone's engines running, literally and figuratively. Dominique Tipper, everyone. Rossi would not get very far without this man, your pilot, Cass Anbar. She, next, is probably your favorite actual politician right now. And next, she is the toughest Martian on this stage, sorry Cass, and will kick your ass no matter what gravity we're under, Frankie Adams. It's It's just a true fact. And without this one of these halves of James S.A. Corey, wouldn't have this wonderful universe. Everyone, please welcome Ty Frank. Well, it's because I said the best for last. Wait. No, I gotta go with this. Everyone calls you Murder Snuggles for some reason. It's Wes Chatham, everyone. Just got lost in your eyes or something. Just got lost in your eyes. Don't know what. Well, everyone, it happened. The Expanse was saved. For any of you here on the panel, what were your reactions when you first found out, like literally when you first found out, that you were going to continue working on the show and that the fans had such a big part of it?
Wow.
Yeah, big question.
Something like, woo! I was a bit more like, what the?
I went, woohoo!
Real-time reactions, guys.
There's a story that I like to tell that kind of really captures how surreal the moment was. And when we found out, we were at this space conference and Jeff Bezos comes up and makes the announcement. We were going crazy and I was patting this guy on the back and somebody that, strangers and hugging everybody, and I was patting one guy and he gave me this annoying look and I realized it was Buzz Aldrin. He wasn't as happy as we all were.
Let me know when you actually get to the moon, alright?
Yeah.
I suppose he had a bear patting him on the back.
It was so surreal. It was the most extraordinary moment I've ever had as an adult, as a professional.
Yeah, and I don't mean to call any of us out, but I remember we took a taxi to the nearest bar.
Oh, yeah.
We were fogging up the windows of the taxi, just being like, what just happened?
Yes.
It was really, really cool.
It was insane.
Before it actually happened, I was sitting next to Wes, and we were behind Jeff Bezos, and he was going away with the texting, and Wes leans over to me and goes, wouldn't it be funny if he's like, getting ready to save the Expanse? And I said, you fucking dreaming, man.
Yeah, we were joking about that. And then I think someone who worked with him, even before that moment happened, also was like, Jeff's never on his phone that much. We're like, you can't keep doing this to us. It was pretty incredible. Dom, I think it's apparent how much the fans and the Screaming Firehawks out there love the show. But I know that the cast really loves this show too. Do you still practice scenes together every week?
Oh, yeah, of course. We
Is it like one
together.
big family?
No, it really is. And you know what? Especially from my point of view, I haven't actually been acting that long. And I feel so blessed that I got to come into a situation with these people. I was so cushioned and supported as a woman and as quite a new actress on a set. And it's changed the whole experience. I mean, I'm so spoiled now. I'm like the little brat. If I ever go into a set, I'm like, what is this? But yeah, we're all spoiled. We love being together, and we're dedicated to bringing you a show that speaks for humanity, that represents you in a way that maybe you don't feel represented. And so we feel a responsibility, and we want it to be awesome. And we like to get together every Sunday and run scenes and go through maybe stuff that isn't working and just hash it out. Thankfully, we have an awesome showrunner and producers and writers and creative team that allow us to be a part of that. Because I know not everybody gets that chance on other TV shows, so it's a profound place to work, it's a profound cast, it's a profound production to be a part of.
And I'd like to give the captain a lot of credit for being the house mom of the
Sure is.
the Expanse. And make sure that we all get to rehearsal, and so we rehearse every Sunday.
And that we have
Show.
water.
And he brings
snacks.
water and snacks.
That's so sweet.
And if you're late, you might get a stern talking to from the captain. So you gotta be on
He's
time.
the captain for a reason.
You're much less smoldering up here. So, speaking of dedication to the show, going forward, creating new things in a dedicated way that is for all of you, this would not be a Comic-Con panel if we didn't have something brand new to show for all of you. So, here's your first look at Season 4. I didn't see that. I have training because she's never stepped on a planet before? She needed to get her muscles ready?
That's exactly correct.
I love the commitment to the science. Anyway, something also awesome, unintentional just happened. When the Rossi landed just then, it was within 10 seconds of the exact second anniversary of the 50th of the Apollo moon landing. When that was really cool. Wow, you can't plan that kind of thing. Not like I thought about it. Not like I thought about it or did it intentionally. Lorraine and Ty, why don't you tell us a little bit about what we just saw?
Yeah, it's the first time Rossi's ever landed on a planet. It was a big deal because we had to sort of redesign the ship. We had to add those landing struts that come down. There were a lot of conversations about how it would land with the main drive beyond, and we decided that it landing in a pool of molten lava was not a good idea. So we went with the thrusters. And yeah, all the stuff with Dom and showing showing the brutal physical thing that a belter has to go through to prepare their body for that. And Dom was super committed to it, and we got to show a side of belter life that we hadn't seen before.
Yeah, I mean it's like if you literally weighed twice as much tomorrow and someone just snapped their fingers, that'd be hard to do. Speaking of which, how do you act like you are stepping on a planet for the first time? I mean that seems like an otherworldly task.
It was quite hard actually. I'm laughing because that particular scene was all green screen. So I was like, well, this is going to be shit. I mean, my imagination can only go so far. No, but I just, in my own imagination, I was like, come on, imagination. But I took a lot of things into consideration: the senses, smell, everything that a belter's physicality. I had to go through up until that point to get there. And Breck Eisner, our director, he never let me off the hook. He's amazing, and he really helped me massively with that. And the boys were all very supportive as well. So it was a lot. I just imagined what it was like to maybe step out on Earth for the first time and how awe-inspiring it would be and beautiful. And I'm an imagination actress, so that's what I shot for.
Yeah, I love the little detail of getting lost in the horizon.
Yeah.
That was really
because
nice.
she's never seen a sky before.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's I saw it as like baby's first steps. That's how that all felt to me, and coming into your senses as a kid.
Yeah, I guess that totally comes through. And Wes and Steve and Cass, basically, you didn't have to do anything.
Per usual.
No, I kid. Ty, I think The Expanse is one of the very few shows that actually works with the original writers of the adaptation that's going through, like in the writer's room, actively shaping the show. Some shows, may have had like recent troubles with, like sticking the landing or something and showing up at a Comic-Con and talking about it, so... What? I'm not talking about anything, it's an example.
Your hypothetical people are friends of mine, right?
How do you and Daniel and Narain work together with the writers to make sure that the show is faithful to what you want it to be, what it could be on a different medium, that kind of thing?
A lot of drinking.
There's punching involved. There's punching and physical violence.
Yeah, Narain and I fight a lot. He's smaller than me, so it's not really fair.
I lose a lot.
But he's scrappy.
He is scrappy. No, I mean, the nice thing is it's a small room. It's not huge, and everybody there is in that room because they were committed to that particular project. So the rule we've always had, and Daniel and I have always had this rule right in the books, and the rule that is true in the room is the best idea wins. The only thing that matters is that the thing is good, that we make a thing that's good. And everybody has that commitment, so you don't get a lot of fighting about, whose idea should win. People arguing for their version. Everybody's version is the same. It's the best one.
And Ty and Daniel have also they've never been precious about things. They're willing to change chronology. We folded character arcs into different characters. We moved things around, pulled storylines forward. I think it's a unique part of the adaptation process in this particular case.
Yeah, not being too precious with anything could be really important if you're transporting like a large series of books to something like television. It makes total sense. What? This is
I
totally my
like
forte.
the layers of shade, Kyle. They're beautiful. This is called layers of shade.
I love it. Steven.
Yes.
You're often, and this not being an actor boy like yourself, one process that is always fascinating. It's okay, we're friends. That is always fascinating to me is trying to get into the mind of someone who has kind of like another mind, kind of like the good and evil, or just having someone speaking to them that no one else can see. How do you get into that kind of headspace, especially knowing if you've read the books where perhaps the show is going in this season and beyond?
Sure. Holden is a guy who has a lot on his mind for sure, and
To put it lightly.
I was an enormous fan of the books even before we started the show, and some of the descriptions of what Holden goes through when he downloads the information from that ancient civilization was some of my favorite parts of the narrative as a whole. So I had, the luxury of, the writers and the source material there to guide me through in a lot of ways. But in terms of visualizing what that would mean, stretching this man's psyche to the breaking point, and what that would do to one's perspective, was a really interesting challenge for me. And I did a couple of different things. I tried to meditate on it and kind of visualize what that would even mean and what that would do to somebody's worldview. And in an ironic way, Holden finds his feet because of it. His perspective opens up, and he's thinking about these larger existential questions, and he becomes more grounded as a leader because he's not really sweating the small stuff anymore.
Sure.
But also with Miller in his head, it becomes normalized after a while. He's talking to this man, or entity, or whatever you'd like to call it, constantly. And when we meet him again, time has gone by, and the relationship has become somewhat normalized, which is hilarious and also profound.
It's great for Naomi, for their relationship.
That's right. Having a third wheel around all the time.
That's in his head.
It's interesting that to be more grounded, you had to find something off in deep space.
That's the irony. And it was really fun to work into that. And obviously with Tom, who's a wonderful guy and an amazing scene partner and an awesome actor, and collaborating with him on what that relationship would actually be and how it would happen has been one of the great joys of my journey on this show.
Yeah, I love it.
Thank you.
Well, Wes, on a similar note, I need to know, how do you get in the zone when you got to put your murder face on? What are you specifically visualizing? And don't say it's me forgetting to introduce you.
So, now, if you forgot to introduce me, and then you take away my callback joke. You have my back. Honestly, I'm probably lost in a daydream in that scene. They just pick up, and then people just read
Just
into
the camera
murder.
just found you.
I'm probably thinking about lunch or what time we're getting off.
This is really well known.
Daydreaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drifting off.
Like daydreaming, but I was so murderous.
And I now go, Wes! And he goes, oh, I'm sorry. Like,
Where was I? They call it Wes's World. Sometimes I visit Wes's World during the set. Maybe they pick it up on camera, and people read into the Myrtle Snuggle thing of it all.
I don't know if that's sweet or really good method, or I don't know.
He's underselling it a little bit. I've seen him in dailies. It's like there's a little switch that goes on. I'm like, damn, that dude's scary.
Yeah, I was thinking like punching through plywood or something on set. I don't know.
I do. I put a little bandana on. Steven holds up a little flashlight like, punch through it. I'm ready to go now.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
Said correctly, there's no difference.
Watch YouTube with Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris is
Sorry, Chuck. I
that
didn't.
beard. Cass, you're kind of the resident space nerd in the main cast, I guess I would say. Because we've done this a couple of times now, and you've proven it to me. Can you tell us the story? I really like this one where you were really wanting to get the science right in a scene that was all you, and you kind of had to improvise when you were so lonesome.
Yeah.
Shall we say?
So when I was so lonesome, yeah. So I'm just to preface this. I'm used to being kind of like the smartest science guy on a show. When I came until I came to this show. Okay. And now I actually enjoy being like number 4, number 5 because every time I come to set. Yeah, I wasn't
I
wasn't including you now. But having Ty and Narain and Daniel and with all the science and I learned something every single episode and I love that. But the one you're referring to is the scene I was doing, I think it was season 2, season 3, where I'm all alone on the ship and he's been supposedly been drinking a little bit and he's waiting for the guys to come back from the away mission. And it's all 0G and he's singing some Hank Williams and we're getting ready and I'm worrying about Hank Williams and I had lost my voice the night before and I was like practicing my song, yeah. And then we're getting ready, we're shooting, and as we're shooting, I realize I'm about to open a carbonated beverage in space in 0G. And I'm like thinking, my stupid science person going, what happens with carbonated gas in a 0G environment? And I have no idea, my brain didn't work fast enough. So I popped it and I put my hand on it. Just so we didn't have to deal with it. And then I covered it over and I put it back on again.
It came off as an interesting drinking style. But in reality, it was all for you.
And then later I asked one of our astronaut consultants, Rick, WestJet. Rick, always forget. And I said, what would happen? He goes, well, we did do stuff in space where we dropped an Alka-Seltzer into a bag of water, and he says it just turned into like mousse, like foam.
Yeah.
So chances are, you did the right thing, and you just covered it up and we hit it. So that was
Save the movie, guys.
I said,
And the VFX budget. Which is sometimes more important. Shore, something that I think is... Wow, that's... You can't buy that. Something that I think is so important and that the fans love about The Expanse is that not only does it show humanity more technologically advanced and humanity more advanced in its, maybe morals per se or its politics, The Expanse is really progressive in its portrayal of diversity, and I want to focus on that for a second. Does working on a show with so many women, so many diverse women as the main cast of characters, do you think that speaks to the appeal and the success of the show? I know it does for me.
Absolutely. I'm a storyteller, and I love to tell the stories that are meaningful, challenging, interesting, stories that tackle most important issues without having to get involved with them, and sending out subliminal messages to everyone, especially the other half. When they see us, they realize that if they could do it, we could do it too. All these powerful female roles are suggesting, they're saying that yes, what you see on the silver screen could be possible in your societies as well. And we encourage young women all around the world to think of a bigger role in their societies, to hold a key position, to be able to change their societies for better. This show is amazing.
Before we get to your, I didn't mention this at the top, just like Wes, there will be some time for questions and answers, so if you have any, they'll be lining up somewhere, but hold them in your mind for just a second, and we'll get to them as much as we can. Frankie, one last question. The hot seat. No, nothing crazy. What some fans may not know, and what some fans I think don't know about many of the cast, is that The Expanse is one of their biggest and most loved roles that they're doing or that they have done, and you're crushing it, by the way, Frankie. I think you told me, maybe I'm wrong. Was this your first Big acting gig?
No, that's not true. I've been acting for almost 10 years, which is amazing considering I'm 17 years old. But this one is probably the one that's been on the biggest stage, and also one that I've learned like so much. Hey, thanks, dude. Thanks for having me.
Well, that was actually my question. When you eventually and inevitably go on to do more and more things, what's one thing that you think you will bring with you after having worked on The Expanse?
I think, having people like Dom and Shaw right here, we really have this beautiful female empowering energy with each other. We have really great relationships, and it's really taught me a lot about like having a voice and being able to be confident with my opinion and not feeling, like taken advantage of. Not that these guys do that, but they really taught me how to be really like confident in who I am and who I am as an actress and as a woman. And it's really great because it's helped me navigate this crazy life that we lead, and I think that that's probably a thing that I'll take with me as I go on.
Fantastic, fantastic. So now we have some time to hear from all of you. If there's anyone I can't see super well, but over here.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, what is your name and what is your question?
My name's Allegra, and my question is for Ty. Now that Mr. Bezos has a new love child with Expanse, did he steal your idea and is planning on building Luna on the moon now?
Take credit for it, Ty. Take credit for it.
No, we all stole that from Heinlein, so we're all just stealing from the same people.
That's great. Thank you for your question.
Hey guys, my name is Mauricio.
Hello.
As a minority immigrant myself and someone who feels it's very important in our society to push for inclusivity, minority rights, progress, I can't thank you guys enough for what you've done with the show. And my question is, what do we need to do to make sure you guys stay on air and we keep seeing these kind of topics on TV? Do I need to open Patreon for you guys? I love what you're doing. We need more of this in our society.
You guys have gone above and beyond already, and I think that's probably
You already did.
you're already doing what
Just
you
keep watching
technically got
it.
saved.
Just keep watching it and tweeting about it.
Sign up for Amazon Prime.
We launched in 200
That helps.
countries globally when the show comes out.
If I could just answer quick, I hear what you're saying. You guys have done an amazing job. You guys brought us back, but directly to your question, Brown Brother, if you have to let people know how much and how important it is for you to be seeing yourself on screen, you gotta let people know how important it is. I didn't grow up with anybody like me on screen. Ever. Until Lost came on with Naveen Andrews and then Heroes. I never saw anyone like me. I always had to imagine myself as one of these other people who are from different countries. So let people know. Make your voice heard.
Thank you so much.
Hello.
Hi.
Big fan of the show.
Thank you.
Really?
Yeah. Obviously, the source material has a lot of elements. It's got horror. It's got a lot of violence. Avasarala's colorful language. Has the move to Amazon allowed you all to change any of the creative boundaries and you've gotten to do things that perhaps with other networks you were not able to do? That
yeah.
Hey, what you're talking about, Wesley?
Yeah, is there a specific example you could hint at?
Oh, yes.
Are you
Well,
referring
let's just
to
say your favorite potty
specific
mouth
body
in
parts?
theater.
Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, if you could give me a...
Left and right, left and right.
Or ass.
So I think that basically answers your question. Yes, there will be more ass on screen.
We know what you're really asking, but
We know what you deem as important.
Gonna go ahead and guess right now? It's Stevens. Hello.
continuity.
My name is Barbara. I love your show.
Thank you
Thank you, Barbara.
All of the costuming is amazing, but the things they put on Showray are incredible. Do you have any input into your outfit? And do you think
just a little. Joanne Hansen is such a humble designer, costume designer. She's amazing. She's one of a kind. But she believes in collaboration of artists. So if there's anything that I have in mind, like I'm very peculiar with colors. I would love to use the red color in dangerous scenes. So I asked her, can we have a little bit of red and this beautiful royal blue? And she goes, absolutely. They're going to work really well together. So yes, but it's very little. It's all Joanne Hansen, and she's doing an amazing job. Tell you the truth, days that I'm really tired, minus 35. Julie says, it's minus 25, but it feels like minus 35. And I'm like, why do you even say 25? She says it's minus 35. But I wake up and I go to work because I want to wear Joanne Hansen's.
I tell a quick sort of costume story. When I was shooting that fan video, I walked in after one of her fittings, and Joanne was there, and I saw all these necklaces and all these beautiful dresses and everything. And it was like 15 or 20 different outfits, and I'm like, wow, these are amazing. Is this all her stuff for the season? And Joanne looks at me like I'm crazy. She goes, season? This is one episode.
There's a spoiler alert for season 4. We get to see Vasarala's closet. It nearly broke our visual effects.
Alright, we can't go too long without acknowledging this amazing cosplay.
I love
Costume and prop people, most of the props on here you can print on Thingiverse that are my design that I put on there. They're for everybody.
Yeah, big unsung heroes on especially sci-fi shows like this is that when it looks great and looks lived in, it's a lot of hard work to make.
It is, and there's a lot of great stuff out there. Thank you all, and especially thank you for the behind-the-scenes stuff, Cass. It's awesome. Who screws up the most scenes for all of you? Can't stop. Is it Kara because she's so different from how she plays?
Kara?
Tell me.
It's Wesley Shannon.
No,
for sure.
it's Wes.
Totally Wes.
No, it's too who is cutting up the most, or who is like
Who makes
flubbing the
everybody
most?
else laugh? Who just, you get them and they can't stop.
See, I like that he kind of buttered us up with like, hey, thank you, and then who messes up the most?
Who screws up the thing?
Who screws up everybody else?
Well, it's not me.
I won't say who it is, but there's a nice story where Wes and Steven were doing a shot together, and Wes has this thing that when the night's getting long, he gets a little punchy, and he likes to try and make the other guy laugh when they're having their close-up.
But you gotta explain. So sometimes you do the main shot, and then you go in for each close up, and the one, if the close up's on him, I'm off camera, and when it's on me, he's on camera.
I got.
And it was late into the night, and sometimes I'll try to mess with. Sorry, I just want to set it up for you.
So Steven knows where to go, and then Wes is having a great time, and he's looking at Steven. They're shooting the shot, and he's making faces and mugging during the scene, and Steven's kind of looking at him, kind of quizzical, and then the scene ends, and Wes is cracking up, and Steven looks at him and goes, Wes, the close-up was on you.
They switched the setup when I was out of the room, and I came out when I messed with Steven. Yeah,
It's very quick karma.
We should find
and
it.
Steven let me do it through the whole thing.
Go.
But that's more joking around. He doesn't mess up the most.
No.
Yeah, I don't think he's
Wonder who that guy is.
No, we don't have to name prepared group. Super prepared group.
We don't have to name names, but if you want to. Thank you so much for your questions. We have time for maybe one or two more. Just so if you're
More
waiting.
questions. More questions.
There's other people doing other. Hello.
My name's Laura, and I'm super thankful that Jeff Bezos is such a big fan of the show and helped save it. But I have a question for you all. if Jeff Bezos were a character in this series, who do you think he would be?
Who would it be?
Kyle. Hey, I'm down. I'll shave it, I'll play.
Who would he be? Maybe. Oh, Shore, do you want him to be? Okay, sorry.
That's Ty. Ty has a question.
Well, maybe.
I'm not answering that question.
You understand this is a
I think
dangerous
we'll
question.
leave it up to your interpretation,
Is
Ryan.
there like an Emperor of the Universe in the future book or something?
A real earther.
Yeah, he'll be an earther. He is a real earther. He'd definitely be an earther.
I'd love for him to.
He'd be Miller.
Miller!
It's Miller. Miller going once, going twice. We're going with Miller. Sold.
Thank you, Frank.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for your question. I think it's got to be a quick one.
Hey Cass, I'm Jim. I made a suggestion to you last year. Probably don't remember. Did you ever hit Jeff up for free ride on New Shepard?
You better believe it. I did. First actor in space, that's my goal.
That would be absolutely amazing. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to rush everyone along, but we do have one more thing that we want to show everyone. You know, there's one good thing about working with and at Amazon is that they're good at delivering stuff, but they're also good at telling you when you're going to get that stuff. So we have one more reveal for you. He gestured. Is that this year too?
It is!
It is. Thank you all. Thank you to our wonderful cast and crew. Please give it up for them. The Expanse on Amazon right now. Follow Expanse on Prime. Check out the Expanse activation at Martin Luther King Promenade. And first, thank you all so much for coming out. Drive safely. Have a wonderful rest of your convention. Oh yeah.